me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. You call me a god. Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top.
Welcome back to Juggernaut Retro Reviews, everybody, and today we're talking about SummerSlam 1994. And this was held on August 29th, 1994 in Chicago, Illinois at the brand new United Center. This is like one of the first ever, big shows at the United Center before Jordan got there, before Jordan started playing for the Bulls. I mean, because we didn't see him until like the spring of 1995. And also the tagline for the show was "So hot it's scary." And the buy rate was really good for this show. This was like a better buy rate than the Rumble, and like I even think King of the Ring, it was like a 300,000 buy rate. So that was really good, and the attendance was really big, like 23,300. So yeah, the show gets really gets talked about positively a lot. And I think the reason why is because we had the Bret Hart versus Owen Hart. A lot of people can relate to that, with having family members, you family fight and stuff. So people can really relate to that. And also it's the return of the Undertaker. So seeing everything that happens with that. So you could definitely see why there's a lot of intrigue with this show. But let's go ahead and get started with this review. So the show kicks off with Bam Bam Bigelow and Irwin R. Shyster. And Ted DiBiase is in the corner of them. Or, he's better known as IRS. Going up against the head shrinkers of Fatu and Samu, which Fatu is Rikishi. He'd be better known as Rikishi later on if you guys did not know that. And you had Alpha and Lou in the corner of the head shrinkers. Man, like even during this time, you could tell how, the lineage of the Samoans, how deep they go into like with professional wrestling, how they're going to keep going on even after, with Roman Reigns and stuff. But yeah, this match here, Ted DiBiase, I gotta say, during the mid-90s, he was definitely, not from an in-ring standpoint, but he was, getting a lot of heat, and he was, recruiting a lot of people, because, like, he got people, like, into his faction, or people, like, sold out, because, they took all the money, because Ted DiBiase offered him a whole bunch of money, and he managed them, like, he managed Bam Bam Bigelow and IRS here. I mean, this was an okay match. Ted DiBiase, he was getting really a lot of heat here. There are some nice high-flying moves from Fatu and Samu. But ultimately, the match would end by a disqualification, which, a lot of matches, during the 90s, early 90s and mid-90s, they ended in DQ finishes. But you had, you had Alpha and Lou, they were, out there, and then you had Ted DiBiase. So the referee decided to throw the match away because he couldn't get control of the match. There was just too much interference going on, so it was a disqualification. So Bam Bam Bigelow and IRS ended up winning this match, and that ended up getting more heat onto them. And yeah, it was an okay match, nothing crazy, but we will move on to the next match, which we had was the WWF Women's Championship. Women's Championship on the line. We had Alundra Blaze defending the title against Bull Nakano, which she is from, she's a wrestler from Japan. And also on Bull Nakano's corner was Luna Vachon. Yeah, this one actually wasn't that bad of a match. Alundra Blaze, she's a very, athletic woman. She can go pretty decent in the ring. Bull Nakano, she had this like crazy look with her, like her hair was like all spiked up, like she was definitely interesting. They worked pretty well together. This was actually some pretty decent stuff. Alundra Blaze, she ended up retaining her WWF Women's Championship by hitting this nice German suplex into a bridge, which was really nice. But I mean, it was a short match, but it was good for the amount of minutes that they had in the match. So this was some fun stuff here. And then the next match we had was the Intercontinental title on the line. We had Diesel defending the title against Razor Ramon. And in the corner of Diesel, we had Shawn Michaels. And they recently just beat the the Head Shrinkers to take the tag team titles from them. So, and also Shawn Michaels, they were doing a backstage interview, being very cocky, saying that Razor Ramon isn't going to win. The heel that Shawn Michaels is, being a prick and all that, amazing during this time. And so Razor Ramon had Walter Payton in the corner. So if you guys don't know who Walter Payton is, he is a legendary Chicago Bears running back. I believe in like 1985, somewhere around there, somewhere around that time. Walter Payton. Also, his nickname was Sweetness. Walter Payton. To be honest, I wish, with Shawn Michaels, being one of the best wrestlers, being one of the best entertainers, and being, one of the biggest shows of the year, I wish Shawn Michaels was actually in the match. I wish they maybe were doing like a tag team match, like Shawn Michaels and Diesel going up against like Razor Ramon and 1-2-3 Kid. I wish that was, if they wanted, they could put the titles on the line here, but that was just me, because, having one of the best, entertainers, and then, you had Bret Hart on the show being one of the best wrestlers, in this world. It would have made sense, to have Shawn Michaels wrestle on the show. But yeah, this match was actually pretty good. Two big guys in here. Usually I'm not a big fan of, two big guys going at it, but yeah, Diesel and Razor Ramon, they were working, pretty good together. Shawn Michaels, he was doing some crazy bumps, he was jumping off steel steps. He even took a punch from Razor Ramon, and Shawn Michaels, he went flying off the ring apron into the barricade. Like he just does some amazing bumps. He's a great seller. Also Shawn Michaels, he was trying to interfere quite a bit. There were some nice comebacks from Razor Ramon in the match. There was this one point where Razor Ramon hit like a bulldog up from the top rope, or from the middle rope, and the crowd really popped for that. I gotta say this: Razor Ramon is like one of the best IC champions of all times, in my opinion. Yeah, I gotta say that right there. And Ian, put Mr. Perfect up there as well, but yeah, Razor Ramon, he should have been a world champion in WWF. And also Diesel, he was doing some pretty nice big boots, doing some nice things to stop Razor Ramon's comeback. But the match ultimately ends. So Shawn Michaels, he was trying to interfere quite a bit, but Walter Payton and Shawn Michaels, they were doing the tug of war over the IC title, and the referee was distracted. So Shawn Michaels came in, tried to do super kick, or tried to do switch in music onto Razor Ramon, but Razor Ramon ducks and hits Diesel instead. So Shawn Michaels hits Diesel instead, and Razor Ramon's go for the pin, and we got a new Intercontinental Champion in Razor Ramon. So that kind of plants the seeds towards the breakup of Diesel and Shawn Michaels later on down the road. But yeah, this was definitely this is one of your better matches of the night, probably the second best match of the night. But yeah, this was some good stuff here. All right, and then the next match we had was Tatanka going up against Lex Luger. Yeah, this match was very short. Kind of the whole story behind this was Tatanka. He was saying that Lex Luger, he sold out. He kept saying he sold to $1 Million Man. He kept saying that quite a bit. The fans weren't really behind anybody in this match, because the fans were thinking that Lex Luger sold out, and they didn't really know how to feel about Tatanka here. Because like I said, because he never knew which way Tatanka was going to go. But we had the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, come out with a bag of money. Lex Luger was distracted. He was telling $1 Million Man to go away, but Tatanka ended up doing a schoolboy, or doing a roll up onto rolling up with Lex Luger, and Tatanka won the match. And at the end, it was all a big ruse. Tatanka ended up turning heel and siding with the $1 Million Man. Ended up doing a beat down on Lex Luger and stuffing money in the mouth of Lex Luger. So yeah, it was all a big ruse. So Lex Luger wasn't the one that turned his back. Wasn't the one that sold. It was Tatanka. But yeah. All right. And then the next match we had was Jeff Jarrett going up against Mabel. And this is like a hip hop versus like country here. Yeah, this match was not that good. this was not that good. Not that long of a match either. There was some pretty bad spots in this match. Jeff Jarrett ended up winning the match. He got Mabel was going for like a senton, and Jeff Jarrett moved out of the way, and Jeff Jarrett did like a schoolboy onto Mabel and ended up winning the match. So yeah, nothing crazy. Like the Tatanka Lex Luger match and the Jeff Jarrett Mabel match, you can really skip over. All right, and then the match that everybody was watching SummerSlam 1994 for was the steel cage match for the WWF Championship. We had Bret Hart defending the title against Owen Hart. And this story is really good here. You had the whole tensions starting off in '93 at Survivor Series where Owen Hart was getting jealous, and then they kind of brought everything back together. And then at the Rumble of '94, you had Owen Hart take out Bret Hart. And then Owen Hart, he ended up winning the King of the Ring of 1994 by help of Jim the Anvil Neidhart. And then Jim the Anvil Neidhart cost Bret Hart. So that's basically that's the reason why they were doing this steel cage, to keep Jim Neidhart out of the match. And you had Davey Boy sitting out there. You had the British Bulldog sitting out. You had the whole like Hart family sitting front row out by ringside. Of course, this is the big blue steel cage. I'm a pretty big fan of the steel cage. I like it a lot. A lot of big holes in here. Pause. But no, yeah, this match was really good. I mean, two brothers going at it. In this interview, Bret Hart was saying that he didn't hate Owen Hart. He just was he felt sorry for him the way he's been acting and stuff. But yeah, this match was really good. Went 30 minutes long. And the way to win this match was so there was no pinfall or submission. It was only to escape the cage, go through the door, or go over the top of the cage. So, and there was no referee in the ring, so it made for some nice, a little playground for them to do, like made for some more creativity. Owen Hart, he was really, working on the knee. He said he wanted to break the leg of Bret Hart in the sharpshooter. There were some nice spots where Owen Hart had to stop Bret Hart from escaping the cage. There were some nice spots with that. Yeah, there was this really nice superplex from the top of the cage that Owen Hart stopped Bret Hart. So that was nice. And he really had to protect Bret Hart there because, back in the day, back in the mid '90s, the ring wasn't as, it was kind of more rigged. Wasn't as soft as it is now. Wasn't as wasn't as built like it is now. But the ending of the match was like just really good. You have both of them. They were both on the kind of outside the cage on the side, but Owen Hart ends up getting his leg caught in the cage, inside the cage. So Bret Hart jumps down to the floor and ends up retaining the WWF Championship. And then after the match, you had this whole beatdown. Jim the Anvil Neidhart, he just beat down Davey Boy, and like you had this big old beat down on the Hart family. Like, I wouldn't mind if this match could have been the main event, but you saw with the whole like ending with the whole beat down of the Harts, you see why this wasn't the main event. Even had a British Bulldog trying to help out Bret Hart, and you had the other members of the Hart family trying to climb the cage to help out Bret Hart. But yeah, I mean, the match was really good, but I didn't care much for the beatdown and all that. But you understood why, with the story, why the cage was involved. But yeah, good match. Best match of the night. All right, and then we had the main event. We had The Undertaker versus The Undertaker. Which Undertaker was real? Well, of course, we knew the real one, Mark Calloway. And the great Undertaker, he was Brian Lee Harris. You definitely know, like, you tell from here, yeah, WWF made the right choice, or WWE made the right choice of going with, the Mark Calloway. That was the best Undertaker, because this Brian Lee, he didn't do it. Like, he didn't have the it factor, he didn't have the presence that Mark Calloway did. This is probably one of your not so great main events at SummerSlam. I mean, it was cool seeing Undertaker here. The Mark Calloway Undertaker, he looked really good. But I mean, this Brian Lee, he was selling pretty good for Mark Calloway. But I mean, yeah, the match is like really short, nothing crazy. Mark Calloway's Undertaker wins. And then after the match, they put Brian Lee into the casket. And that's the last that we see of the other Undertaker. Yeah, very, very poor rating for this match here. Not good at all. And also, with that Bret and Owen Hart match, that was like, I think, one of the few matches Dave Meltzer gave a 5-star rating to. Like, I think he only gave like 3 5-star ratings in the mid-90s or the 90s. Because I believe it was that match between Bret Hart and Owen Hart. I believe it was the Intercontinental title ladder match at WrestleMania 10. And I believe it was a Hell in a Cell match between Undertaker and Mankind. But yeah, Undertaker, Mark Calloway's Undertaker wins at the return of him. The show ends with him on top, and with Paul Bearer, they have the urn. Yeah, it was cool. It was cool and all, but overall, I would say this was a very enjoyable SummerSlam to watch. I definitely recommend checking it out. And the match I'll say definitely check out is the Bret Hart and Owen Hart match. And I'll say also check out the Razor Ramon and Diesel match. That's another good match to watch. But overall, I mean, it was an enjoyable SummerSlam. Also, if this is your first time ever checking out my channel, hit that subscribe button. That really helped me out a lot. Also, hit that like button to help out my videos in the algorithm. And go follow me on all my social media platforms. Go follow me on Instagram and X at TheTrueJSB. And also go follow me on TikTok as well. It's the Juggernaut Show. All my links will be down below in the description, so you can go head over there. Also, I got my SummerSlam 2025 predictions coming up. Excuse me. This week, stay tuned for that. Got some videos to do with Kicking It with Leo. Stay tuned for that. But yeah, definitely stay on the lookout. Hit that notification bell to be notified every time I make a new video. And this is your boy Juggernaut saying peace out, and I'll catch you guys in my next video.